أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال لهم نبيهم إن الله قد بعث لكم طالوت ملكا قالوا أنى يكون له الملك علينا ونحن أحق بالملك منه ولم يؤت سعة من المال قال إن الله اصطفاه عليكم وزاده بسطة في العلم والجسم والله يؤتي ملكه من يشاء والله واسع عليم صدق الله العظيم. This is verse number 247 of Surah Al-Baqarah. In previous verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated that children of Israel said to their prophet that appoint a king over us so that we fight under his leadership against the enemies. Actually, we have already said that children of Israel, they were on the right way, but later on they committed sins. As a result, infidel Amalika, there was a group of people, they were called Amalika. So then infidel Amalekites were made to rule over them. Then they began thinking about correcting the situation. So then they said to their prophet that appoint for us a king so that we may fight against the enemies under the leadership of this king. So they demanded in the previous verse. Now in this present verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned that their prophet said to them that Allah has chosen as a king over you Talut. Talut in English means Saul, S-A-U-L, Arabic word Talut. So when the Israelites asked their prophet to appoint a king over them, so the prophet appointed Talut Saul, who was then a soldier just. He was not a prominent man, he was not a wealthy and rich man. But Talut was not a descendant of the house of kings among them. Actually, from the previous time, they used to appoint king from among the descendants of the families of the kings. But this Talut was not a descendant of the house of kings among them, which was exclusively in the offspring of Yehuda, in Arabic Judah. This is why when they heard this Talut was appointed as a king over them, so they disagreed and they said, Anna yakunu lahu al-mulku alayna. How could he have kingship over us? Meaning, how can he be the king for us? They said, وَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِالْمُلْكِ مِنْهُ. While we are fitter than him for the kingdom, we are more entitled to kingdom than him, because he has not been given enough wealth. He is not a rich and wealthy man. According to them, for king, it is necessary to be a wealthy and rich man. So they said that Talut was also poor and did not have wealth that justifies him being king. Some people stated that Talut used to bring water to the people. This was his profession. While others stated that his profession was dyeing skins. The Jews thus disputed with their prophet while they were supposed to obey him and they were supposed to say good words to him. Then their prophet said to them that verily Allah has chosen him above you. Meaning Allah chose Talut from amongst you, while Allah has better knowledge about him. So when they objected to the prophet that we do not accept Talut as a king over us, so their prophet stated that I did not choose Talut to be your king on my own. Rather, Allah has commanded that upon you your request. Then just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the prophet explained the situation that why Allah has chosen him as a king over you, because he has two qualities. Number one, وَزَادَهُ بَسْطَةً فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالْجِسْمِ. Allah has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature. Meaning Talut is more knowledgeable person, and he is more honorable than you, and he is stronger and more patient during battle, and he has more knowledge of warfare. So you are going to fight against enemy. So for a leader these two things are necessary: knowledge of war and being strong in body. So the king should have sufficient knowledge, be fair looking, and should have a strong soul and body. And categorically the prophet said to them that Allah grants his kingdom to whom he wills. So Allah alone is the supreme authority who does what he wills, and no one can ask him about his actions, while people will be asked about their actions by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of resurrection. So because Allah has perfect knowledge of everything, he has wisdom and kindness with his creation. So that is why the prophet explained the situation to them that Talut is entitled, fit for this portfolio, for this kingdom. And the last sentence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Allah is all sufficient, meaning Allah all sufficient for his creatures' needs, and Allah knower, meaning he knows who deserve to be king and who does not deserve to be not king. So this is the summary of this present verse. وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ. And their prophet said to them, إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ بَعَثَ لَكُمْ طَالُوتَ مَلِكًا. Indeed Allah has appointed Talut, meaning Saul, as a king over you. قالوا, they said, أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ عَلَيْنَا. How can he be a king over us when we are fitter than him for the kingdom, or we are more entitled to the kingdom than him? وَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِالْمُلْكِ مِنْهُ وَلَمْ يُؤْتَ سَعَةً مِنَ الْمَالِ. And he has not been given enough wealth. قَالَ, he said, meaning the prophet said to them, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Verily Allah has chosen him above you. وَزَادَهُ بَسْطَةً فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالْجِسْمِ. And has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature. وَاللَّهُ يُؤْتِي مُلْكَهُ مَنْ يَشَاءُ. And Allah grants his kingdom to whom he wills. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. And Allah is all sufficient, meaning for his creatures' needs. Alimun, all knower. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ. And their prophet said to them, وَقَالَ لَهُمْ نَبِيُّهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَدْ بَعَثَ لَكُمْ طَالُوتَ مَلِكًا. Indeed, Allah has appointed or Allah has sent you Talut as a king over you. قالوا, they said, أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ عَلَيْنَا. They said, how can he be a king over us? Or they said, how could he have kingship over us when we are more entitled to the kingship than he? Or قالوا, they said, أَنَّا يَكُونُ لَهُ الْمُلْكُ عَلَيْنَا. How can he be a king over us? وَنَحْنُ أَحَقُّ بِالْمُلْكِ مِنْهُ. When we are more entitled to the kingship than him. وَلَمْ يُؤْتَ سَعَةً مِنَ الْمَالِ. And he has not been given enough wealth. قَالَ, he said, their prophet said to them, إِنَّ اللَّهَ اصْطَفَاهُ عَلَيْكُمْ. Verily Allah has chosen him above you. وَزَادَهُ بَسْطَةً فِي الْعِلْمِ وَالْجِسْمِ. And has increased him abundantly in knowledge and stature, meaning in physique. وَاللَّهُ يُؤْتِي مُلْكَهُ مَن يَشَاءُ. And Allah grants his kingdom to whom he wills. وَاللَّهُ وَاسِعٌ عَلِيمٌ. And Allah is all sufficient, meaning for his creatures' needs. Alimun, all knower. وَقَالَ لَهُمْ. And Qala said, lahum, to them, Nabiyuhum, their prophet. So actually the structure of sentences in Arabic is different from the structure of sentence in English. So in English we said their prophet said to them, but in Arabic waqala, and said, lahum, to them, Nabiyuhum, their prophet. In English subject comes first. In Arabic first comes verb, then subject. Waqala, and said, lahum, to them, Nabiyuhum, their prophet. Nabiyuhum, this is the subject of the sentence. Inna Allah, indeed Allah, qad ba'atha lakum, has appointed, qad ba'atha, has appointed, lakum, over you or for you, Talut. Talut means Saul, Malikan, as a king. Qalu, they said, Anna, how, yakunu lahul mulku alayna, how can he be a king alayna, over us? Or another meaning, how could he have kingship? Anna, how, yakunu lahu, could he have kingship, mulku, kingship, alayna, over us? Wa nahnu, and while we, or when we, ahaqqu, are fitter or are more entitled, bil mulki, to kingship, minhu, than him, min, than who, him. Walam yu'ta, and he has not been given, sa'atan, enough, min al mali, wealth. Or walam yu'ta, he has not been given, sa'atan min al mal, wild measure, min al mali, of the wealth. Qala, he said, meaning prophet said to them, Inna Allah, verily Allah, istafa, has chosen, who, him, alaykum, above you. Wazadahu, and wazada, and has increased, who, meaning him, meaning Allah has increased him, bastatan, abundantly, fil ilmi, and knowledge, wal jism, and stature. Wallahu, and Allah, yu'ti, grants, gives, mulkahu, his kingdom, man, to whom yashau, he wills. Wallahu, and Allah, wasi'un, all sufficient, alimun, all knower. Again, waqala, and said, lahum, to them, Nabiyuhum, Nabiyu, prophet, hum, their prophet. Inna Allah, indeed Allah, qad ba'atha, has appointed, lakum, over you, Taluta, Talut, Saul, Malikan, as a king. Qalu, they said, Anna, how, yakunu lahul mulku, how could he have mulku, a kingship, alayna, over us? Or how can he be a king over us? Wa nahnu, and we are, ahaqqu, more entitled, or we are more fitter, bil mulki, to for kingdom, or we are more entitled to kingship, minhu, than him. وَلَمْ يُؤْتَ, and he has not been given, سَعَةً, enough, min al-mali, of wealth. Qala, he said, Inna Allah, verily Allah, istafa, has chosen who him, meaning Talut, alaykum, above you, wazadahu, and he has increased him, bastatan, abundantly, fil ilmi, in al-ilm, knowledge, wal jism, and stature. Wallahu, and Allah, yu'ti, grants, mulkahu, his kingdom, because Allah is the owner of the kingdom of the all universe. So Allah says Allah grants his kingdom, man, to whom yashau, he wills. Wallahu, and Allah, wasi'un, all sufficient, meaning for his creatures' needs, alimun, all knower. So these are the meaning of these words.